Mr. President, thank you for agreeing to do this interview with us. You're celebrating 3 years in office, and in the past 3 years, you've been on an aggressive development campaign. What are you most proud of?
Well, to begin with, the work that we have done in the last 3 years required a team effort. So I will not dare take credit as if it was a self-assignment. This was Team Guyana and a team assignment. I have a great team with me, and we have set ourselves the task of advancing a rapid-paced development agenda that will bring prosperity to every Guyanese home, that would uplift the spirit of Guyanese, that would uplift Guyana, that would reposition Guyana in a regional and international space as a country that is viable, a country that is sustainable, a country that is competitive, a country in which there is great respect, respect for the rule of law, respect for our democratic principles, and respect for our people. And I would say over the last 3 years, outside of the massive advancement in the implementation of our manifesto and the commitment and promises we made to the people of Guyana, we have almost completed our manifesto. The mere fact that Guyana is held in such high international and regional esteem, that our country has positioned itself in a place where we all can be proud, I think is something that we all should celebrate and must celebrate as Guyanese. So to identify key deliverables that I'm proud of the accomplishment of the team in the last 3 years, would be doing a tremendous disservice and injustice to the tremendous work and achievement we've achieved across sector: the healthcare, education, infrastructure, technological transformation, the delivery of jobs, the expansion of housing, the opening up of opportunities for the vulnerable, the support for the elderly, women, children, integrating all of Guyana in the development frame and advancement of our country are things that we are very, very proud of. But we have also been able to set a new paradigm for Guyana, one in which we are working beyond the size of our country, one in which we are working beyond the population of our country, a paradigm in which we are going to position, and note my language, we are going to position Guyana as an important global leader on 3 of the most challenging crises that the world faces. That is food, energy, and climate. We have the credentials, we have the philosophy and the policies, we have the wherewithal, but more importantly, we have the principal position to stand on in all 3 of these areas. So a lot of the work that we'll be engaged in and we're engaged on is to position Guyana as a global leader, as a regional leader in these 3 areas. So I would not want to confine my remarks in terms of identifying 3 specific things that I'm most proud of. I'm most proud of all of the work that we have done. But what touches me and what inspires me every day is when I go out in the field. As you know, I do not like to work from the ivory tower. I do not like to work from a seat of power. For me, the seat of power, the seat of responsibility, the seat of service is on the ground, next to people, alongside people, shoulder to shoulder with people. And that, I think, in the last 3 years is what really inspires this team. When we go out to communities, we listen to people. What I want to achieve and what I want this team to achieve is the credentials of a government that is caring, a government that listens, a government that analyzes based on what they hear, and a government that acts in the interests of people. And that is what going on the ground, listening to people, engaging in community development, community engagement, community conversation allows us to do. I think one of the very important aspects of the government over the last 3 years is that we have been able to centralize people at the core of what we do. Everything that we do, all the action that we take is bringing people at the core. And it's not a hierarchical movement where someone is at the top and passing things down at the bottom. It's a matrix approach to leadership, a matrix approach to development, a matrix approach to service, where the government, the people is at the center, and the service that the government offers surrounds the people. So I would say, we have been able to keep our promises in the manifesto. We have brought back jobs in the sugar estate. We are revitalizing the sugar sector. We are revitalizing agriculture. We are putting food security on the front. We are investing in human development, in the modernization of our country, in the technological advancement of our country, bringing the infrastructure that will support the best possible health and education deliverables and service to our people. This is what makes me proud. What makes me proud is to see the enthusiasm, is to see the positivity that exists in our society, that exists in our country, and to see the new realm of respect that Guyana is given, and the new space Guyana is given at the regional and international level in demonstrating the type of leadership that we can present in resolving and confronting the challenges of the world.
And as we speak about challenges, none of what you have done so far would have come without difficulties. What are some of the main challenges you have encountered personally as president in accomplishing much of what you have over the past 3 years?
I think we set ourselves a very rapid agenda for development that requires strong time management. It requires utilizing as much time as I can find and the team can find to working in a hands-on way for the advancement and the delivery of our promise. That is a major challenge, especially in a country where the human resource pool is not elaborate. So we have to work in achieving these very ambitious targets within the human resource availability and shifting the cultural approach to work, the cultural approach to doing business, the cultural approach to achieving results. You see, I believe that everyone must be results-oriented. In the private sector, they work to ensure profitability. In the government, we must work in a way that is results-oriented. Not this long bureaucratic journey of showcase, of pageantry. That is not for me. I cut the chase. We work with specific emphasis and eyes on result. That is what I want at the end of the day, where we achieve results. There has been many challenges. We came into office in a very complex global environment, climate change. We have managed 2 floods so far of national scale. We have managed COVID-19. Almost 1.5 years of office was operating in the confines of a COVID-19 environment. So to achieve what we achieved in such an environment is remarkable by any standard. We were able to position Guyana to be an attractive destination for internationally branded hotels, for foreign direct investment, not only in oil and gas, but in a diversified portfolio of opportunity. The energy conference, the cricket finals, the advancement of our ecotourism, the positioning of Guyana as a strong ecotourism market, the positioning of Guyana within new geographic space, whether it's the Middle East, whether it's in Asia, whether it's coming on now with a new development agenda for DR. All of this combined to give us the muscle that is needed to confront the various challenges that I face and the government face. So COVID-19, the floods. Then also we had to deal with different challenges on the security front. I don't have to go over those challenges, but we confront those challenges. We have to deal with the challenge of the political context that we operate in, the political environment that we operate in, one in which you have, and I keep saying this, one in which you have an opposition that continues to operate as if they sit in the seat of the high priest and still present themselves in the seat of the high priest with a sinful soul of the desire of the devil. What do I mean? The first thing you learn is that you must confess your sins. If you want to present a clean slate, you have to confess your sins. This is an opposition that's tried to steal for 5 months the most important value of a citizen, that is their vote. Try to steal a country, try to steal democracy and bring Guyana to the fold of being in an undemocratic realm of countries, and presents themselves from the seat of the high priest. I find that offensive. I find that disturbing. And that is a threat to national democracy. That is a threat to the freedom of people. So that's a great challenge, to ensure that in this political environment in which we want to build this one Guyana, that we get the opposition to understand that democratic principles and value are not seasonal principles and value, that the rule of law is not seasonal, that respect for the rights of people is not seasonal. This is something that must be embedded in your principles and in your policies and your values that make us a nation, that make us a democratic country. So we have confronted all of these challenges. We have confronted a group of people that are bent on using an old, useless tool of racism to mobilize people. I assure you today that my commitment and my desire to destroy racism, to destroy disunity, to remove it from the psyche of our people, and to disallow the intellectual authors to use it, will succeed. It will succeed because of my strong commitment and belief in the spirit of the Guyanese. It's what makes us the Guyanese people. And I believe that very strongly that we are on the path of removing this destructive element of regression from the psyche of our nation. And that will be a tremendous accomplishment. My energy, my thought process is significantly triggered to achieving this. I want to say to you, you know, many people ask me what drives you, just like this question. At the end of the day, what drives you? You know what drives me? My understanding that all of us, my belief system, that all of us, we have a common destination. You as a journalist, as a president, as a business operative, as a billionaire, as a poor, humble, working class person, our final destination is very simple. If you believe in faith or you don't believe in faith, your final destination is death. That is our final destination. But what we have is the time before that final destination to craft changes and craft events and to craft ideas and vision that enable humanity to progress, that enable humanity to advance. And this opportunity that I have as president will be utilized to advance the family of Guyana, to advance Guyana. Not Guyana in an unstructured way. Guyana in a structured collective whole where all our people are part of this advancement.
What are your plans for the next 3 years for Guyana?
Well, I noticed you said the next 3 years. Yes, of course, we have more than 2 more years in office. We are laying the framework now to ensure that we present a Guyana that by 2030 will be a sustainable, highly competitive, developed, advanced country in which the citizens of our country will enjoy the best health care, enjoy the best educational services, where prosperity will come from every home, where we will be singing from a singular Guyanese hymn book that we are one Guyana, that we are together. We embrace a common development pathway that seeks to advance our country, in which Guyana will be playing a leading role on climate, energy, and food, and one in which the name Guyana will come with a high degree of goodwill, respect, and we as a people will be proud of our heritage.
And Mr. President, how do you respond to criticism?
Criticism would always be there. But I part the national pride and glory requires thyself to produce an enduring, selfless front that would withstand the storm of obstacle and penetrate the body of negativity. One that would reach beyond the cloud of darkness, pulling from it the positivity that allows one to be destined to greatness. In all of this, thy path will confront many evil hand that burrows its way like termites in an effort to dismantle every forward step you make. Such evil force must not shackle the foundation of love, unity, and trust. The power of such evil force is limited to the selfish desire of men, humankind, who can see beyond their selfish interests. What separates those who succeed and those who will fail, those who will be on the equation of failure? What separates us? Those who succeed and those who will be on the path of failure. Is a difference between the pessimists and those who are the doers. That is my self-philosophy that guides me.
As you celebrate your 3rd year, is there anything you'd want to say to the Guyanese people today?
I want to say to the Guyanese people that as your president, I am humbled by your love and support every day. I'm humbled by your commitment to development. And I want to say to those who are not yet on board with the One Guyana plan that history will judge you wrongly. Some people love to write. I will say to them that the ink that you use to write will one day flake into the realms of history. And when it flakes into the realm of history, the purpose of your writing and the true intent of your writing would unfold itself to the next generation. What do I mean? The power of the ink sometimes can be misused, and sometimes can be used to create very positive and enlightened change. Enlightened position. All of us in this democratic country has a stake at the table. We must not abuse that stake. We must not be opportunistic in how we utilize our intellectual power or how we utilize different platforms we stand on. You cannot hide under the umbrella of falsehood. You cannot hide under the umbrella of fabrication. If you're standing for principle, the principle must be across the board. And that is the type of government I want to develop. One that stands strongly on principles and a value system. A value system that supports who we are as a people and as a country. You know, you asked me earlier about my style of leadership. And some people say that it's aggressive, calling people at every hour. But if we don't have that strong desire and that aggression that is critically needed at this juncture in our development, then we'll miss the boat. We will miss the opportunity of transformation. Let me say this. Many countries went through different phases of development. I see today persons considering themselves intellectuals and specialists in all kinds of areas. But you know, as a government, we too have ideas. You can't be in government and brain dead. You can't be in government and lack the ability to develop ideas and to craft a vision. The development of the ideas and the crafting of the vision was presented in the manifesto. And the people elected us based on that vision, based on the ideas we presented. And we have a moral responsibility to implement it. There is no debate about that. So there is nothing inconsistent with what we are doing now from what the people asked us to do. You know, a lot of people speak about, a lot of specialists on oil, the oil sector now. A lot of specialists. Guyana is not about oil. Oil is the vehicle through which we can build a Guyana that is competitive and sustainable. And Guyana that is competitive and sustainable requires a diversified economic profile. It requires a diversified investment profile. We're talking about the building of a new city that is technologically driven. We're talking about setting the agenda for AI to be an important part of our future. We're talking about setting the agenda for research and development to be part of what we present to the world. We're talking about setting the agenda of utilizing the opportunities that we have in the rainforest to have groundbreaking breakthrough in pharmaceuticals. We're talking about building out an infrastructure that will open up Guyana and bridge the different rivers. We're talking about integrating Guyana as a main hub for energy within the Guyana Shield and the region we serve. We're talking about building out a deepwater port and integrating it with northern Brazil to be a major player in the transport and logistics business. We're talking about building out a healthcare system that is second to none, one in which it becomes an important economic earner, foreign currency earner for the country. We're talking about the Guyana that will present the highest skilled human resources that the world can see. We are talking about a Guyana that by 2030, from our school system, we'll have the ability to speak Spanish and English. We are talking about a new Guyana that is emerging. And what will fuel the emergence of this new Guyana? It is the revenue from oil and gas that has to fuel it, but will fuel it to create new growth poles. It will fuel it to create new areas of revenue. It will fuel it to create new economic opportunity. It will fuel it to diversify our risk portfolio. What should we do? What should we do? What should we do as Guyanese? We have been blessed with natural resources. We are now blessed with hydrocarbon. We are blessed with a great forest that we have given to the world. Should we say, now, let's shut down the hydrocarbon? When we have this opportunity now to build out a Guyana that will see our people prosper, that will see the future Guyanese prosper. And let me say this. I see a Guyana 2030. And we must work towards this. We have to work towards doubling the demand in our country. That is doubling the population. We have to get the diaspora to return. And they will only return when we are able to create this ecosystem, this high-value opportunity that will drive the change, that will drive the development, that will advance the development. This is not fairy tale land. This is not about finding a sexy headline. This is real work, understanding the real challenges. We have a shorter window in the hydrocarbon industry to catalyze the opportunity that it brings. Let me look at the reality of the world we face in. For us to achieve the renewable targets that we set ourselves as a world, it requires $4.3 trillion of investment every year. You know what was the investment last year? $1.2 trillion. Who is going to finance that gap? Every single developing country is finding it difficult now to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals 2030. Why? There are challenges for development financing. There's challenges for climate financing. There's challenges in food security. There's challenges in inflation, food inflation. There's challenges in the global environment, the rising interest rate. We are confronting these challenges with an understanding that we have to build an economy and a financial system that can withstand the shocks of the future. And what are the shocks of the future? You have to be able to build out a coastal defense system that will respond to the climate realities. Where is the revenue going to come to do that? Where are the resources to do that? We have to be realistic. We have to be real. We have to develop and build an agricultural sector that is modern and competitive, that is resilient to the challenges of climate change, the market volatility, and build it in such a way that it offers opportunity to the rest of the world. It requires investment in D&I. It requires investment in the modernization of the agricultural sector. It requires training and development. It requires mechanization. It requires revenue. This revenue can't come from an international system because the international system has not been delivering. So we have this God-given opportunity with the resources from hydrocarbon. Yet, some people are stuck in this hydrocarbon narrative without understanding the much larger picture that we have to build and confront. These are the things that are important to me. These are the things that keep me up at night. These are the things that play on my thinking process because I have to deliver Silica City. We have to deliver the new highways and roads. We have to deliver a better life for all Guyanese, whether you're in the hinterland, riverine areas. We have to ensure that your cost of energy is reduced. We have to build a competitive ecosystem for manufacturing and industrial development. We have to build out a national policy framework so that regional headquarters, international headquarters can come to Guyana. We have to be able to create a demand for the services we are building. We have to position our tourism product to be second to none. We have to invest in marketing. We have to invest in the infrastructure to support the tourism product. We have to think big. I'm already thinking beyond 2030. We have to think outside of the box. How can we create a new ecosystem around a concept of the Mall of South America in Guyana? What is needed for such a concept to succeed? So I am not spending my time analyzing the negativity that comes with a venomous pen or the ignorance that comes with a blessed intellectualism that does not exist. I spend my time on the reality. I spend my time listening to people who are positive, listening to people who can help to craft the ideas and craft the modus, the mode of operation that is required to take us to where we're going to be. We are going to be the best. I say this in a humble way. We are going to be leaders, not because of hydrocarbon, but because of how we utilize the revenue to position Guyana on the regional and international stage. This requires us to think bold, to act in a bold way. This requires us to operate outside of the norm. It requires us to be aggressive. Some people say I'm always so upbeat. But it's a sense of pride. It's not being upbeat. It's knowing what beholds us as a nation. It's understanding what is there for us as a nation. At the end of the day, thy conscience clear is thy satisfaction of the heart. My conscience is clear. Wisdom is not appointed unto you. Wisdom is when you can share in the development of society. Many people believe that the foundation of a modern society and the foundation of an advanced society is the way you look and present yourself as a society. The foundational pillars is ensuring that a society is built on love and trust. The society is built on a system of values and principles in which the people of that society are the inheritance of what is delivered by the country. And the people of our society must be the inheritors of our hard work. Working every day to create new consortiums, bringing women together to own the first urban eco-lodge. Working now with a group to ensure that we could produce all the black eye for Guyana and the region, building out a new consortium, getting women more engaged in earning, having more access to disposable income. My time is consumed by the desire for a better Guyana. My energy is captured by the imagination of the possibility that exists before us. And that is what drives me at the end of the day. So I say, can we do it? There is no other choice. Yes, we absolutely can.
You're clearly passionate about development of Guyana, Mr. President. And if I may, your 3-year anniversary is greeting you as you're wrapping up your first trip to China. Would you care to expand on some of the meetings you've had and elaborate on how successful they were?
Well, first of all, I will have a complete press conference to deal with China. But for one to ignore China, India, the US in our development would be a grave mistake. The level at which and scale at which these countries are operating and the opportunities for collaboration, the opportunities for partnership are enormous. And that is why the private sector is here also. Because the role of government is to open up opportunity, is to create the path through which the private sector can grow, through which the private sector can be able to recreate itself and create wealth. And that is what we have been doing. China is a great partner of Guyana, and 50 years of diplomatic relationship, cooperation, and friendship is enormous. I had very elaborate and significant discussions with the President and Premier. They have underscored the importance of Guyana and their commitment to our holistic development and advancement. They are very, very interested in participating and being part of this process of transformation and modernization. And of course, I made a point that every nation has a different degree of shared responsibility in the advancement of humanity. How can we build international peace when everyone is still speaking the language of war? How can we build international peace when what drives us sometimes is balance of power? Where is the balance of responsibility? I think as a global community, if we understand our shared purpose, our shared responsibility, and put humanity before everything else, we're able to craft a safer environment, a safer global space, one that would create and build greater trust and respect for each other, and one in which we can sit and have frank discussions without impacting the peaceful coexistence of nations and countries. And that, I think, is a key message that the developing world must push. The war in Ukraine proportionately affects the poorer country more than anyone else. Because the EU can find tens of billions of dollars to support the war, support Ukraine, and we believe that every country must have sovereignty and territorial integrity. We value that greatly and must be allowed to live in peace within their territorial boundaries and sovereignty. There is absolutely no debate on that. But as developing countries, we have to withstand the shocks and the effects of such war in a very volatile global situation, where access to financing is becoming more difficult and the cost of financing is blowing out of the roof. So this trip and this focus of this trip was to strengthen our relationship, was to identify key and critical priorities for both countries. We've been able to do that. We have been able to set up a working framework in advancing many of the ideas on climate, energy, infrastructure, food security. So we have been able to put forward our ideas, the opportunities that reside in Guyana in these areas, and work out a mechanism through which we'll advance work. And I think that was very critical at the speed in which we are moving.
Thank you very much for speaking with us, Mr. President.